Welcome, friend. We are excited to help you discover your new look. My name is Shanidra Matthews and I started Amara 2 Classy Boutique to help women find classy and chic items for all sizes. It's not like the store experience. If we don't have your size, you can go on our website and purchase your size in your favorite outfit.
Hello, 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 everyone. This is your girl Shanidra with Let's Dig Deep, getting to the root of things. Yes, indeedy, if you can hear me clearly. Now, today's title is Obedience is Better Than Sacrifice. Yes, but before I get into the rest, I want to bless you with this video to help you understand God's plan. Here we go.
Know that you trust me and that you'll obey me no matter what I tell you to do. In 2017, August, I preached a sermon series called Relationship Goals. And Relationship Goals did the same thing as every other sermon that I did. The 50 to 100 people with my mom and her group watched it, and that was it. Yep. December, God said for me to do less, stride. And I'm sitting there twiddling my thumbs, December 22nd, 23rd, a young lady on Twitter, and I didn't even have a Twitter at the time, she posted a 2-minute clip of relationship goals that we had done a few months earlier, and 2 million people watched it in 48 hours. And in that moment, I still didn't know what was happening. Me and my wife, I remember we're at P.F. Chang's, like eating, and I'm getting 10,000 Instagram followers a day. And I'm like, what is going on? And Black Panther had just came out, and so I thought they thought I was Michael B. Jordan or somebody like that. But I mean, it's just all of these different things. It's because we didn't even have all of the technical things you needed to be a professional ministry. We didn't have a working website. And all we had when these people were like, I want to see this whole message, I want to know what happened. All we had when they searched in Google, Michael Todd relationship goals, all that came up was YouTube. And all the videos for 2.5 years that we had put on YouTube. And
those cameras
that God told me to buy.
That those people
that the people walked away from us with. And at that moment, God took my obedience step almost 3 years earlier and used it as the catalyst for getting this message to the world. And people begin to watch relationship goals and binge watch it like Netflix. There's 8 parts to it. And we went from 1,800 YouTube subscribers to like 200,000 in 60 days. And things started happening and people started calling. And when I was in my 21 days of prayer and fasting, because that just happened, at that moment, I was praying. God said, take 2 engagements a month this year. And I said, 2 engagements a month? I said, last year I only had 4 people ask me to come speak anywhere. God knew the pace that I needed to go at, to be graced for what he called me to. And within about 6 months, 1,800 speaking engagements requests came in from all over the world. And we ended that year doing less than 12 engagements because I had learned from this moment the value of the pace of grace.
At TBN, our mission is to use every available means to reach
So, as you know for sure how the story is going to go, obedience is better than sacrifice. Now I'm going to say it twice. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Let me tell you how. Let me give you where this came from, because, you know, we have to get the revelation of the day. Speaking of revelations of the day, let me see. I have something exciting for you guys. I'll show you at the end of the video. As I told you guys, I have these revelation journals that are actual planners that will help you plan out your day, literally. We're going to have journals, and then we're going to have planners to help you plan and write down the plans that God has for you. Boom. Now, I'm going to ask you a few questions at the end also. God is changing it up, but he's really keeping it the same. He's just helping me remain the same. So now I can't complain. But obedience is better than sacrifice. Let me tell you where this revelation came from. So yesterday, I went to Chick-fil-A, and the lady wanted to get in front of me. So, you know how the lanes merge into one lane. So I was like, okay, it's not a big deal. She's sitting here beeping her, like I was about to, first I waited. I'm like, is anybody gonna come on that side before I merge? But the moment I start merging over to that side, oh, now she wants to ride. So, I put my pride aside, and she was just going off, in her car, beeping her horn. You're doing all this and that, moving her hands. And I'm just like, just go ahead. It's not that big of a deal. We're going to get our meal. It's not that big of a deal. So, I didn't get out of control because she was out of control. I just continued to go with the flow. So, as I continued to go with the flow, they had me to, the lady in front of me that was going crazy, she ended up paying for my meal. Because the moment I went to the window, the lady I was ready to pay. I was like, oh, I haven't paid. She was like, have a great day. I said, oh, I haven't paid. I'm just letting them know I haven't paid. I don't want them trying to follow me out just because, $9. So I just let the lady know. I was like, oh, hey, I haven't paid. The lady didn't take my money back there, so I haven't paid. She was like, oh, yeah. She was like, but the lady in front of you had paid for you. I was like, that's funny, but, I thank the Lord because I knew it wasn't her really wanting to do it. But at least she was obedient. At least she was obedient. Now, I'm not saying the actions that she did and flipping out on me for no apparent reason, like it was that serious to be in front of me. It's like 2-year-old stuff. But even in that, at least she was obedient. At least she was obedient at the end, my friend. Now, you may not begin obedient, but you can become obedient at the end, my friend. You don't have to stay in sin. You can begin at the end. Now, but at first I didn't get that type of revelation. I was just like, wow. It just threw me off because I was like, Lord, what is this about? Like, she just cussed me out, did all this flipping out, and now she done paid for my meal? What kind of deal is that? But I was like, thank you, Lord. I knew it was you anyways. Literally, I knew it was him. But so anyways, I was just like, Lord, that is just so interesting. I just want to know what revelation you want me to get out of this. And he was like, well, I don't want you to dismiss this because I told you I will make your enemies your footstool. And I will prove to you that, because the problem is that my children are not being obedient to me. They're not doing what I have them to do. If it's not pleasing them, or if it's not going to help them out, they're not being obedient. They're not obeying me. Literally. See the difference between me and others, which I just discovered, was that when God tell me to bless someone and whatever he tell me to bless, I just do it. I don't think twice about it. If he say bless him with $1,000, I just hurry up and give it to him because I don't want to even think about it. If he tell me to bless him with more than $1,000, I just do it without even thinking about it. Even if it's not money, if he just has me to help somebody out freely, I'll just do it. A lot of people didn't understand, well, they didn't know that, the most of the Beyond the Cover Academy kids, um, you know, that was going to my academy every day, didn't have to pay, literally. And that was because God placed it on my heart. But nobody knew that part. They thought that, oh, she got all those kids. That's why she's been able to sustain that building and all that stuff. No. No, ma'am, no ham, no turkey. We're not about to do none of that, honey. We're going to give all of that credit to my father where it belongs, honey. I don't act funny, honey. I don't try to look like something that's not like. So it was God. Again, I'm not putting on no fake facade. It was God. When I got the kids, I realized that most of the kids came from one household. Y'all didn't know that until they told that. I did not tell nobody that. The kids ended up telling when I had mentors and stuff. They was like, oh, no, we're brothers and sisters. We're this, we're that. Nobody knew that. And then I was like, hey, how's that mother paying, those? She don't have to. God got her. But I could have been disobedient, would have been like, this is too many kids. Lord, I got my own kids I got to take care of. You bless me with 2 kids that I know for a fact that, is my responsibility. But I could have been like, these other 8 kids is not my responsibility. I need to get kids that, parents can pay, if I was thinking about me. But I wasn't thinking about me. I was being obedient to my father, regardless of, looking at money. I'm not here for the money. I don't do this for the money, honey. I do this for my father. I love pleasing my father. I know my father is what pays the bills. He's the one that is real, so you have to get out of your fields now and do what God has you to do, literally. Literally. Now, I am a single mom, but that's what gave me more compassion towards the other mom. Because I was like, wow, I'm sitting here with 2 kids. I can't imagine having any more kids than 2. I give it up to whoever got more than 2. Woo! That is a lot to do, when you have 2 or more. That's a lot. So, that just gave me even more of a bigger heart towards this mother that I had discovered that had these kids. I was just like, wow, Lord, if I can help her out, I would love to help her out. Even though it didn't supposedly, if I looked at it, it wasn't realistically benefiting Shanidra, me driving my van to go pick them up with the gas using that. If I looked at it the way y'all look at it, I wouldn't have done it, but I knew what my father had me to do, and I know what my father told me to do. And he told me to, minister to these children, regardless. If I'm dealing with the at-risk children, whether they can provide or not, I still got to do what God told me to do. I can't act confused like, oh, well, they can't pay, and they ain't helping me, blah, 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 blah. But God was like, your blessings don't come from that. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Obedience is better than sacrifice. I wasn't going to get I didn't, but I was really blessed with those kids. Like those kids really grew on me, and to help them grow in the Lord was even better. It was even better to be able to teach them about my Father and to help them explore their gifts and talents. When they started, they were telling me that they wanted to be firefighters or, something like that, that they were, taught to say. But when they were literally able to explore more and go beyond the cover and able to discover in those 13 rooms, it was like, wow, the way that their minds just changed and the way that they, that was like, I like doing art. I didn't even know I liked doing art. And when they did art, they started out coming to me. Oh, is this good enough? I'm like, is that your best? Yes. Well, it's good enough. Well, I know I messed up in this line. Art is not perfect. It wouldn't be art if it was perfect. So, they, started exploring more. Some wanted to start singing. Some of them wanted, they just, their whole minds just opened to more. And the more that I help them explore and take them on field trips outside of their circumstances and all of that stuff, it helped them to see beyond their circumstances. But had I just focused on money, then I would have left out all these kids that needed what I'm here to do. Most people look like a fool trying to say what they do, but they don't literally do it without money. If you're not paying the money, you're not in it. If you don't have that money, your kid is not going to be able to be in this facility. But I wasn't going to do that because that's not what God had me to do. He told me to deal with the at-risk children, which is our children. And that's what I did. I didn't have to have the money. It wasn't about the money. It was about me being obedient to my Father. My Father supplied that building for a whole year. My blessings didn't come from me just doing what I wanted to do. He said obedience is better than sacrifice. Obedience. He don't look at what men look at. Oh, well, this and that. No. You out of control when you try to roll the way you want to flow. You become delusional. Because you walk around with this fake facade and you have nothing to do with God. You hide and deny God. Because you want everybody to see what you have to be. Oh, look at me and me and me. But you all about the money. He said the love of money is the root cause. Love of money. I don't love money. But you have I don't have nothing without. This ain't even up for discussion. I don't have nothing and I am nothing without God. There was no way that I could literally teach all those kids, run that whole facility. Wasn't by myself, because I've learned not to say by myself, with God. That was the only way I was able to do that. Because I still have my 2 kids, like I told you. My 2 kids by themselves is a lot. Okay? 2 kids, my own, is a lot by themselves. So taking on anybody else is a lot. So I haven't forgot that, I don't do this on my own. Anything that God has me to do, I need him. Don't be a fool. Anything that he has you to do, I want you to get the clue. You can't do that he has you to do. You can't do it on your own, honey. I want to help you belong because you cannot. Shanidra cannot. She cannot. I cannot. I'll say Shanidra because y'all want to act like y'all can do just everything that y'all want to do, But what God has you to do, you cannot do on your own. There's no possible way. There's no way. I need God all day, all day, all day. Literally, like I literally need God all day. Okay. So again, my friend, it's not about you. I want you to get the clue. It's when he has you to do something that's not, oh, well, what am I going to get out of it? Oh, I ain't getting no money out of that. When I got the building, I thought that I was going to be being a blessing to business owners, and I was going to be able to have, utilize those 13 rooms to rent out offices for businesses. I'm like, Lord, you blessed me with all these offices. I'm gonna be a blessing. And I was thinking I was gonna be a blessing that way, and then that's how I was gonna get my book. But God was like, no, I'm gonna teach you a lesson, honey. That's not how you're gonna be blessing, honey. In that, as a matter of fact, that's where your academy is gonna be. Beyond the Cover Academy. I was like, okay. So you want me to put kids in this nice building? Yes. I was like, oh. So are you wanting me to put all the stuff in there? God provided. Last year I received not one grant for the academy. I didn't receive nothing last year for the academy. So it was nobody literally but God. So I want y'all to understand that. Y'all figured it out. Oh, those kids wasn't even paying. Oh, I wonder how she would. God. That's why I tell y'all it was God. No help from nobody else. Because God was like, whether they help you or not, whether they are obedient or not and help you. They have left you, but I'm going to help you. Your help come up from me, honey. Let them act funny, honey. They are missing out on their own blessing. That's why they're going to continue to be stressing. They're going to continue to be stressing and missing out on their own blessing. Because they thought that they was messing you up. But they messed themselves up. Now let me get into the word if you haven't heard. God said, let's get into the word. Let's dig a little bit deep. Let's go beyond the cover, honey, so that they can discover. Let's get to the root of it. So, as you know for sure, how the story goes. We'll be in 1 Samuel, the 15th chapter. Now, let me tell you what happens to them when you are disobedient. So we'll be in 1 Samuel. I didn't understand why God, because first he was telling me about your enemies being your footstool and all that stuff. So I went to Psalms 110 division. But then I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Psalms. But Psalms is, the Psalms of David. But anyways, he was like, no. I want you to teach about obedience is better than sacrifice. That's why I put that video up there first. So he took me to 1 Samuel, the 15th chapter. And he took me to the 22nd verse. But of course, we have to read all of it. So I went to the first verse, and that's where we're going to start at. 1 Samuel, the 15th chapter, starting at the first verse. And I will be reading from the NIV. I think the NIV is right. Okay, Holy Bible. I gotta see what's in front of me, literally. So, the title on mine, it says, "The Lord Rejects Saul as King." Now, I wonder why he will reject Saul as king. But that really explains his growing fear, Saul's growing fear of David in chapter 18. But we're just going to go with the flow of God. So, here we are. The Lord rejects Saul as king. Here we go. Chapter 15, verse 1. Samuel said to Saul, I am the one the Lord sent to anoint you king over his people Israel. So Samuel letting them know, I'm the one that anoints you king over his people in Israel. Remember, I'm just reminding you. So listen now to the message from the Lord. You need you to listen carefully. He said, follow his commands carefully. Do these things carefully. So he told him, so listen now to the message from the Lord. So this isn't me. This isn't coming from me, Samuel, and this is coming from the Lord. This is the message from the Lord. So the message from the Lord, verse 2, it says, this is what the Lord Almighty says. Now, he already said it's a message from the Lord, but he said, this is what the Lord Almighty says. So there's no confusion or delusion. Almighty says, I will punish the Amalekites for what they did to Israel when they waylaid them as they came up from Egypt. Verse 3, now go attack the Amalekites and totally destroy all that belongs to them. Do not spare them. Now I want y'all to hear this clearly. He said, now go attack the Amalekites. This is from the message from the Lord. Now go attack the Amalekites and totally, that means all of them, not some of them, not part of them, not totally destroy all that belongs. He didn't say some that belongs or a little bit that belongs or a few that belongs. He said all that belongs to them. Do not spare them. Put to death men and women, children and infants, cattle and sheep, camels and donkeys. Now he said all of this. Y'all need to read it. It's verse 3, because when God literally tells you something, you got to literally do it the way he said it. We can't tweak it. We can't, do none of that. Not even some of it. We got to do exactly what he say, the way he said it. Just like we tell our kids, don't be changing it up. Well, I did clean up the counters, but you didn't clean the dishes. Like I said, all of it, not some of it. It ain't cleaning the kitchen. You didn't listen. So, verse 4, 1 Samuel, the 15th chapter, verse 4. So Saul summoned the men, because remember Samuel told Saul to do this, that the Lord said do this. So Saul summoned the men and mustered them to Telaim, 200,000 foot soldiers and 10,000 from Judah. Verse 5, Saul went to the city of Amalek and set an ambush in the Raven. Verse 6, then he said to the Canaanites, go away, leave the Amalekites, so that I do not destroy you along with them. For you showed kindness to all the Israelites when they came up out of Egypt. So the Canaanites moved away from the Amalekites. They did listen. Then Saul attacked the Amalekites all the way from Havilah to Shur, near the eastern border of Egypt. Verse 8, he took Agag, king of the Amalekites, alive, and all his people he totally destroyed with the sword. But Saul and the army spared Agag and the best of the sheep and cattle. Now, is that what God specifically told him to do? He didn't say spare nothing. Let's go back. Let's go back and just figure out what God said. He said, now go attack the Amalekites and totally destroy all that belongs to them. Do not spare them. It says, do not spare them. Okay. Now let's see what Saul did instead. But Saul and the army spared Agag and the best of the sheep and cattle, the fat calves and lamb, everything that was good. He got it misunderstood. He told them all of them, not spare none of them. But he did some of them. These they were unwilling to destroy completely. So they were unwilling to do what God told them to do. Well, Saul was unwilling to do what God told him to do because he was looking like a fool, not destroying all of them. So they were unwilling to destroy completely, but everything that was despised and weak, they totally destroyed. Is that what God said? No, that's not what we read, and that's not what God said. So, verse 10, my friend, then the word of the Lord came to Samuel. I regret that I have made Saul king. And you don't want God's regret. Nothing. But now he's regretting that he made Saul king. Because he has turned away from me and has not carried out my instructions. Did he carry out all his instructions? He didn't follow all of them. I'm not going to tell them, oh, great job, you cleaned the counters. I said clean the kitchen. You know, no, you missing some things. No. But God said, then the word of the Lord came. This is verse 10, 1 Samuel, the 15th chapter, verse 10. Then the word of the Lord came to Samuel. I regret that I have made Saul king because he has turned away from me and has not carried out my instructions. Samuel was angry and he cried out to the Lord all that night. Verse 12, early in the morning, Samuel got up and went to meet Saul. But he was told Saul has gone to Carmel. There he has set up a monument in his honor. Nevertheless, I'll keep reading this mess. And has turned and gone on down to Gilgal. Verse 13, when Samuel reached him, Saul said, the Lord bless you. When Samuel reached him, so I want y'all to know who's talking. When Samuel reached him, Saul said, this is not what Samuel said. Saul said, the Lord bless you. I have carried out the Lord's instructions. See, this is the delusion and confusion that y'all be in, or that we be in. When we did some of what God told us to do. Oh, well, you know, I know I was assigned to those kids, but, you know, they didn't have no money, so, you know, I only get them one day a week. No, I got them every day of the week. Like he told me to do. I wasn't being a fool. I didn't get them one day a week. I got them every day of the week. But, you know, if I wanted to be like this, I would have got them one day a week because I didn't want them taking all my money. And then I would have been like, God, aren't you pleased with me? I'm like, no, you out of control. I regret I gave you all of that. You know, you don't want God to ever regret what he has given you. So, Saul said to Samuel, the Lord bless you. I have carried out the Lord's instruction. No, you didn't. Now, y'all heard what I just read, and you can read it for yourself. We in 1 Samuel, the 15th chapter. We started at the first verse. Now, he did not follow all of God's instructions, but he said he carried out, he said, take me back to it, Lord. Okay, here we go. Thank you. The Lord bless you. I have carried out the Lord's instructions. Verse 14. But Samuel said, what then is this bleating of sheep in my ears? Why do I hear sheep? You didn't complete the assignment. You did not complete the assignment. You did not complete the assignment. Just because you did most of it don't mean that you completed the assignment. You failed the assignment. So he said, what is this sheep in my ears? What is this lowing of cattle that I hear? What is this? Question mark. It's question mark right there. What is this? What is this that I'm hearing? I mean, you said that you completed everything that God told you to do, but why am I hearing all of this? You know, if you did this, why do I hear this? Why? Thank you. Back to it. Verse 15. Saul answered, the soldiers brought them from the Amalekites. They spared the best of the sheep and cattle. Is that what God said? Did he say spare the best of the sheep and cattle? No. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Saul answered, the soldiers brought them from the Amalekites. They spared, after we read that, he said, don't spare nothing. Okay. They spared the best of the sheep and cattle to sacrifice to the Lord your God, but we totally destroyed the rest. Sacrifice to the Lord your God, but God didn't ask for no sacrifice. Okay. Nevertheless, we gotta be blessed. So, but we totally destroyed the rest. I mean, I know he told me to totally destroy all of them, but I kept some of them because it was the best of them. So, I didn't want to destroy the best, I want to keep the best children around me, that make me look good or whatever. So it won't be misunderstood. So I can look like I'm doing something and like, no. Anyways, verse 16. Enough, Samuel said. Enough. I've heard enough. I'm calling your bluff. I've heard enough. Enough. Samuel said to Saul, let me tell you what the Lord said to me last night. Let me get you off this little high horse that you're on, honey, that you don't belong on, because you did wrong. Let me tell you what the Lord said to me last night. You didn't do right. You didn't do what God told you to do. You got confused. You did what you wanted to do. But anyways, he said enough. Let me tell you what the Lord told me last night. Let me tell you. Let me tell you, because I don't want to fail you. Let me tell you real quick. Saul replied, tell me. He's like, yeah, tell me what the Lord said about me. Tell me, Saul replied. Samuel, verse 17. 1 Samuel, the 15th chapter, verse 17. Samuel said, although you were once small in your own eyes, did you not become the head of the tribes of Israel? Did God not make you the head of the tribes of Israel? Question mark. The Lord anointed you king over Israel. Like, you couldn't answer that question. I'm just going to give you the answer. The Lord anointed you king over Israel. Verse 18. And he sent you on a mission saying, go and completely destroy. Go and he sent you on a mission. You were on a mission. He told you exactly what to do, how to do it, all of this. He sent you on a mission to completely, all of them, destroy all of them, completely. Just like I tell my children, complete the paper, complete the work. You're not going to do part of the work. Oh, I did what you assigned me to do. I took on the assignment, but you didn't complete the assignment. Taking on the assignment is completing the assignment. You didn't take it on if you didn't complete it. If you just did part of it. That's not how God works. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Okay? So he said, the Lord anointed you king over Israel, verse 18. And he sent you on a mission saying, go and completely destroy those wicked people, the Amalekites. Wage war against them until you have wiped them out. And that's what he was all about. That's what he told you. That's what he told you to do. I mean, why you couldn't do that? Verse 19. Why did you not? Why did you not? I want you not to forget. Why did you not? This is what it says. Why did you not obey the Lord? Why did you pounce on the plunder and do evil in the eyes of the Lord? Why? Why? Why you couldn't just complete what God told you to do? Oh, because you got to make sure you get something out of it. You got to get something out of this. You got to make sure. I mean, you don't trust God enough to make sure that you're going to get something out of it. You got to make sure that you get something out of this before you can help. I don't get blessed by doing what I want to do, the way I want to do it. You get blessed when you are obedient to God, when you actually complete what God has you to complete, the mission, the assignment that He has you to complete. That's when you have done what the Father has told you to do. But you look like a fool, just like He did too, when you do what you want to do the way you want to do it. And then you want to think God is going to approve it when you didn't do it? Well, I'm sorry. I did some of it. Oh, okay. He didn't say do some of it. He said do all of it. But, nevertheless, you're not going to be blessed in that mess. You're going to be stressed because look at this. So, verse 20. 1 Samuel, the 15th chapter, verse 20. He said, but I did obey the Lord, Saul said. I went on the mission the Lord assigned me. You went on the mission, yeah. The Lord assigned me. I completely destroyed the Amalekites and brought back Agag, their king. Okay. The soldiers took sheep and cattle from the plunder, the best of what was devoted to God, in order to sacrifice them to the Lord your God at Gilgal. Did God add that part to it, or did you add that part to it? Because I thought He said destroy all of them, don't spare none of them. But did you add that? It looks like you added that part because you want to make sure, sweetheart, that you got your part. But you did not do what God told you to do. I want you to get that clear. That's not what God told you to do. Don't be a fool. I completed the whole year. So, verse 22. But Samuel replied, does the Lord delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as much as in obeying the Lord? You think He won't burnt sacrifices over obeying Him? You don't need that. What? You don't need no sacrifices. Well, Lord, I sacrificed my time to make sure I spent time with Him. And, Lord, God is like, but you ain't doing what I told you to do. You're not completing the task. You're not doing nothing that I told you to do. You're being a fool. Now, I told you, I assigned you to this. I told you to do this, but you choose to do you the way you want to do it. You're not doing what I told you to do the way I told you to do it. That's what God said. We're not going to twist up what He said that you just read. So the Lord, He said, does the Lord delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as much as in obeying the Lord? ? You think God, I'm doing these burnt offerings for the Lord. No. You're out of control. You need to be obedient. Oh, God is, remember, we used to do this back in the day. We used to sage and all that. So that's better than obedience to him. He told you not to do it, but you're going to do it anyway. Oh, okay. And you think God is blessing you. No, man. Okay. To obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed is better than the fat of rams. For rebellion is like the sin of divination, which is witchcraft, and arrogance like the evil of idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of the Lord. See, this is the part y'all don't want to hear. Y'all don't want to admit it or quit it, so he won't reject you. But because you have rejected the word of God, he has rejected you as king or queen. Verse 24. Then Saul said to Samuel, I have sinned. I violated the Lord's command. Oh, at least Saul noticed that. I violated the Lord's command and your instructions. I was afraid of the men, and so I gave in to them. We can't give in to men. We can't do what, we're not here to please men. If you don't understand God's plan, you can't please God and men at the same time. You either love one or hate the other, period. You're going to have to discover. So, then Saul said to Samuel, I have sinned. I violated the Lord's command and your instructions. I was afraid of the men, and so I gave in to them. Now I beg you, forgive my sin and come back with me so that I may worship the Lord. First place. So, but at least he wanted to make it up. But verse 26, but Samuel said to him, I will not go back with you. You have rejected the word of the Lord, and the Lord has rejected you as king over Israel. Period. As Samuel turned to leave, Saul caught hold of the hem of his robe. And it tore. Samuel said to him, the Lord has torn the kingdom of Israel from you today. And has given it to one of your neighbors, to one better than you. Don't be a fool. Verse 29, he who is the glory of Israel does not lie or change his mind. If he told you what you need to do. You did what you wanted to do. Oh, God give us forgiveness. But he also told you, if you are obedient, these things will be added to you. If you are disobedient, these things will be taken from you. He's not one to lie, so he's not going to change his mind or go back and all of that. He doesn't do that whack stuff, as a matter of fact. So that's that. So he said, he who is the glory of Israel does not lie or change his mind, for he is not a human being that he should change his mind. So don't compare him to us. It's not even up to discuss. Verse 30, Saul replied, I have sinned, but please honor me before the elders of my people and before Israel. Come back with me so that I may worship the Lord your God. So Samuel went back with Saul, and Saul worshiped the Lord. Then Samuel said, bring me Agag, king of the Amalekites. Agag came to him in chains, and he thought, surely the bitterness of death is past. But Samuel said, as your sword has made women childless, so will your mother be childless among women. And Samuel put Agag to death before the Lord at Gilgal. Verse 34, then Samuel left for Ramah But Saul went up to his home in Gibeah of Saul. So Samuel went to Ramah, Saul went to Gibeah. Verse 35, until the day Samuel died, he did not go to see Saul again. Though Samuel mourned for him, and the Lord regretted that he had made Saul king over Israel. The Lord said to Samuel, how long will you mourn for Saul, since I have rejected him as king over Israel? How long are you going to mourn over this man, since I rejected him? I have rejected him as king over Israel. Since I have rejected him as king over Israel, question mark. Fill your horn with oil and be on your way. I am sending you on another task. I am sending you to Jesse of Bethlehem. I have chosen one of his sons to be king, if you know what I mean. But Samuel, this is chapter 16. We are on chapter 16. We're on second verse. But Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul hears about it, he will kill me. So Samuel like, how can I go? Because Saul hear about this, he gonna kill me. Lord, this is the real me. If I go in there and do it, Saul's going, how can I do this? When Saul's going to try to kill me, The Lord said, take a heifer with you and say, I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Verse 3, invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you what to do. You are to anoint for me the one I indicate. Honey. Not who you want to participate, but who God indicates. Yeah. Verse 4, 1 Samuel the 16th chapter, verse 4. Samuel did what the Lord said. Samuel did what the Lord said. When he arrived at Bethlehem, the elders of the town trembled when they met him. They asked, do you come in peace? Question mark. Samuel replied, yes, in peace. I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Consecrate yourselves and come to the sacrifice with me. Then he consecrated Jesse and his sons and invited them to the sacrifice. Boom. Verse 6, when they arrived, Samuel saw Eliab and thought, surely the Lord's anointed stands here before the Lord. So he saw Jesse's son Eliab and thought that, surely this is the son. He was, built in a certain way that, Samuel thought that was going to be, but the Lord said, now this is who man sees, because they look at the physical, the outward. That's why God has my academy to go beyond the cover. That's the whole point in discovering beyond the cover. We don't look at the cover. We discover. Now, but the Lord said, this is 1 Samuel, the 16th chapter, verse 7. But the Lord said to Samuel, do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. Okay. Then Jesse called Abinadab and had him pass in front of Samuel. But Samuel said, the Lord has not chosen this one either. Jesse then had Shammah pass by, but Samuel said, nor has the Lord chosen this one. Jesse had 7 of his sons pass before Samuel, but Samuel said to him, the Lord has not chosen these. So he asked Jesse, are these all the sons you have? He tried not to show the little one, because, he didn't think that the little one was going to be able to be chosen, but that's the main one that God chose, honey. There is still the youngest, Jesse answered. he is tending the sheep. So they're still the youngest. I mean, just because they are young, that don't mean that they are dumb. Honey. That don't mean that God ain't chose them. But he is tending to the sheep. Samuel said, "Send for him. We will not sit down until he arrives." Verse 12. 1 Samuel the 16th chapter, verse 12. So he went to him and had him brought in. He was glowing with health and had a fine appearance and handsome features. Then the Lord said, "Rise and anoint him. This is the one." This means so much to me because he showed me literally something that is happening. But the very one that he assigned to you, that God assigned to you, may not look like, seem like, appear like, maybe young like, but don't be dumb like Saul was. I mean, this is getting good. Then the Lord said, "Rise and anoint him. This is the one. This is the one I have chosen." I didn't choose all of them based off their appearance and their title and all that stuff. I chose this one, the youngest one, the smallest one. This one. This one, honey. So Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the presence of his brothers. And from that day on, the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon David. Samuel then went to Ramah. Now the Spirit of the Lord had departed from Saul, and the evil spirit from the Lord tormented him. Saul's attendants said to him, "See, an evil spirit from God is tormenting you. Let our Lord command his servants here to search for someone who can play the lyre. He will play when the evil spirit from God comes on you, and you will feel better." So Saul said to his attendants, "Find someone who plays well and bring him to me." One of the servants answered, "I have seen a son of Jesse of Bethlehem who knows how to play the lyre. He is a brave man and a warrior. He speaks well and is a fine looking man, and the Lord is with him." Then Saul sent messengers to Jesse and said, "Send me your son David, who is with the sheep." So Jesse took a donkey loaded with bread, a skin of wine, and a young goat, and sent them with his son David to Saul. David came to Saul and entered his service. Saul liked him very much, and David became one of his armor bearers. Then Saul sent word to Jesse, saying, "Allow David to remain in my service, for I am pleased with him." Whenever the spirit from God came on Saul, David would take up his lyre and play. Then relief would come to Saul. He would feel better, and the evil spirit would leave him. So that's all I'm supposed to let you guys know. We have went from verse 15. From chapter 15 to 16, we read all of it, not some of it, not part of it, because he wanted you to get the whole story. So, as you was able to see, that God literally does not love sacrifices over obedience. Obedience is always better than sacrifice. These examples in the Bible and the example that the God in the video told you and the example that I was showing you, obedience is better than sacrifice. I told y'all on one of my last videos that I remember being in the parking lot of Aldi's. I'll be very specific because I don't know why he has me to tell y'all my personal information, my personal business. But I guess I don't have no business. Like our parents used to say, "You ain't got no business. You are still a child," and I am a child of God. So whatever he decides, I'm all right. So me and my children was outside of Aldi's. and I only had like $250, period, to my name. Just $250. That's it. That's it. And I got a phone call that, this lady needed 200. So I was like, here I am about to fill up our you know, refrigerator with food that we do need. We did need food. It wasn't that we didn't need any food, like our refrigerator was already filled. And no, that's why I was going to use 200 and, keep the 50 for the rest of the week. I had gas in my car, so I was like, okay, 50 will help me last because at least we have food in the house. Boom. Get the phone call. Get a phone call. Let me tell you how obedience is better than sacrifice. I got a phone call for a lady that needed 200. So I'm looking at God like, why they asking me? That's all I got, I'm about to walk in this Aldi's and get some food for me and my kids. So I was like, God, what you want me to do? So it was like, it's on you. You know what you need to do. And it was like in me, even though fleshly, I was like, I need to go in here and get my kids some food. I only got $200, But it was just like something was just, well, I ain't gonna say something. Lord, I told you I wasn't gonna say that again. God was telling me God told me to give the lady the $200. Now I told you I only had $250. I told you that's all I had. To my name, period. Period. So I was like, not but it. Okay. So I was like, okay. I couldn't even get out the car because it was just like it was over me so heavenly, like give the lady $200. So I just hurried up because I'm like, look, I don't know what this is about, but I don't know if I'm a dog, whatever, if I don't do this. So, that's how much fear of the Lord I have. Like, if he tell me to do something, I just want to do it. Just hurry up. You just never know. So I was like, okay, he knows I need food for me and my kids. He knows this. He clearly knows my situation. He's seen my refrigerator and all that. He knows that he gave me these 2 kids that are still with me. He knows all of this. So I was like, okay. I hurried up and cashed out the lady $200. Boom. It wasn't no random person. It was somebody that, I knew, whatever. So, but I did it. So again, I was trying to think like, how in the world am I going to get us some food? I'm like, well, I'll probably get them some noodles and, try to get some bread and so they can still be fed or whatever. But I was like, let me see how much money I got left. 'Cause I think I had like 250. So I was like, let me see how I'm going to do this. So I checked my account and I will not lie to y'all. I checked my account now, mind you, because I checked my account right before I paid the lady because I wanted to make sure I was just like, Lord, let me just check and see. I do just only have $250. I checked it. I just like right before I sent the cash out, I checked my account to make sure that, just to make sure I knew that it was really only $250, So after I just checked it and I sent it, I checked it again because I'm like, $200. That's all I had, and we sitting outside of Aldi's. We're sitting outside of the grocery store. We're sitting outside, and I'm with my kids. So as a mother, outside of the grocery store, I'm telling my kids, God is telling me to give this woman, the $200. I was like, don't worry about the food because we're going to have food. But I got to do this. They are my witness. They are my witness because they was freaking out too. Because they watched me check my account and everything. But so I checked it again after I sent the 200. And I was like, Lord Jesus. I was like, help me, whatever. And it said $36,000. I said, wait a good freaking minute. Not $3,600. I would have been thankful for that. I only had $250. That's all I had anyway. So even if he gave me $3,600, I would have been just jumping for joy. But 36,000, and I was just like, oh my goodness. I was like, thank you. And then I looked, I was like, hold on, let me make sure. I don't want to. So it was at the Aldi's on Cedar Bluff. So I went down the street on Cedar Bluff in Knoxville and went to, at that time, my bank used to be UT Federal Credit Union. So it was like right there. So I went right there to make sure. And she was like, yeah, this is your money, blah, 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 and it's legal and all this. I was just like, so I checked my email because I know I was denied for something. But I checked my email and it said I was approved. I was denied for, the little, but I was approved for more. I was like, like, what? So after I confirmed it with the bank and made sure that, I ain't gonna have to pay back nothing, and they was like, oh no, this is real. This is like that. I was like, oh, okay. And then I looked at my email and I checked, I looked at my email while I was in front of the bank. So, because I was like, no, I was not for that. I was like, and I didn't even ask for that much or whatever. I was like, I'm being honest because I'm like, look, this is a lot of money. Honey, I'm not trying to be in no funny stuff. So, they was like, no, this is real. This is yours, you're a teenager and all that. I'm like, okay. Look back at my email. I was like, oh, I was approved. I was like, look, I'm showing them like, here it is. Look at my phone. I was approved. Like, oh, this is real, Oh my goodness. So, I'm flying back to Aldous and I'm like, oh, we can really get some food now, Then I was like, oh, nope. No, now I know God wants me to get some food. I'm going to get some food. But I still had to acknowledge God. Even though I thank God immediately, I was just like, wait a minute. Wait a good minute. Because obedience is better than sacrifice. Now, I had to say that twice. Obedience is better than sacrifice. So, once I got to back to Aldi's, I sat in the car still, and I was like, Lord, how much do you want me to spend out of this? Because I mean, he's over the money, honey. He gives me the money, and I'm like, what we doing with this money? Because I'm not trying to spend the money the way I think I should. Because when he blesses us exceedingly and abundantly, it's not for me. I automatically, common sense, know that all of this isn't for Shanidra. So since I had acknowledged him on that, and then he told me to bless my apostle and all that stuff with, money or whatever. I did that first and then went into the store to, get our food. So God made sure we had food. So, but I just had to do what he had me to do, and he was going to approve all the other stuff. Oh, but they did not come through because remember, we're still on that same day. That Monday did not come. It literally came after I was obedient. I promise you, my kids know I'm not a lie. I would never lie on God. I promise you that's my life. That's why I said miracles, signs, and wonders is always in my life. I know for a fact. It's not nothing that I was taught. It's my life. I see God in my life every day. Literally, I cannot explain it. I cannot tell you how or nothing. I know everywhere I'm at, I'm not typically, technically approved in the world. I'm not approved for certain things that I'm in, my friend. But God, when you're on God's credit, they can't reject it when you're on God's credit. But anyway, so he drops that down. I paid my apostle. I mean, well, not that I, was obedient to what he told me to do with my church at the time and all of that. I just sent whatever he had me to send to whoever he had told me to send it to. Boom. Did that before I even walked into the grocery store. So going to the grocery store, spending money. Now I've been spending all this money since I just got it. I just got it, but I was obedient to where he told me to send it to. And not that day. I don't think it was that day. But that week, was it 50-something thousand? Was it that week or the next week? It was either in that week or the very next. I know it was like shortly after I get another. More than what the 30, I thought 36 was a lot. I was like, I never got that in a lump sum. So it was like, okay, Lord. So this is stuff I've already had. So, you can talk about it after, and especially if God has you to talk about it. You can talk about it after you've already had it. So there's no praying against nothing because you can't. It's not even up for discussion. So that happened. So I was like, well, dang, I can't complain about a thing. But even with that, I still acknowledged his name in all my ways. I was just like, Lord, I see that you added to me even more. But this is at the time that I was also, dealing with those kids every day. They were being fed, went through the academy. I didn't have none of I didn't get none of the free food or anything. So we was getting creative. They was getting like real meals. I was getting those little pasta meals from Aldi so that it could spread, pasta spreads, but they're also fed and, it's not just anything to, they were actually eating and y'all could see that stuff too. But just because I was obedient, because I'm sure if I would have kept that 200, he would have been like, oh, well, I was going to bless you exceedingly and abundantly. But you wanted to keep what you wanted to keep, make sure that you and your kids was all right. Okay. But I didn't. Since I was obedient, I'm telling you the truth. Like, there is not a lie. That is not a lie. See, I tried God. And I try God every day, if you can hear me. So, literally, you really have to be obedient to God. You have to do it exactly the way he tell you to do it. Now, I could have went in there and been like, okay, I'm going to send the money to all these people that you told me to send it to after I get me and my kids some food because we've been sitting in here for a minute. No, I was just like, no. Let me go ahead and send off whatever you're telling me to send off immediately, speedily. Because you told me to do that first, so we have to do it in the order that he told us to do it. Because I could have still did it, but I don't know if I would have been technically obedient because he told me to do that first. Before he didn't tell me to go into the store first. He said, send this stuff off and then. So I sent that stuff off because he didn't even tell me how much to spend in the store. He didn't even tell me yet. So I was still waiting on that, but he told me what to give to other people. So I did that first. And then I went into the store. But I had to do it exactly the way God told me to do it. And then look what God did again. Like, I'm telling y'all gonna have to get right within, my friend. Y'all gonna have to begin and do what God has you to do. If he assigned some people to you or assigned a person to you, you need to do what he has you to do. Do it the way he has you to do it and complete the assignment. And don't do the assignment your way. Or he will reject you as king because you rejected his word that you heard. So we're gonna have to follow his word carefully. We're gonna have to do exactly what he say, the way he say, and how he say it. Period. So that's all I have to let you guys know today. We must pray and obey the Almighty. We must do it Yahweh, so we do not have to hit the highway. I hope you guys have an amazing and blessed day. And the question of the day is, and this answer can vary, but to receive the planner, what, Lord, give me the question. What made Saul disobedient? Because he did defeat and destroy the Amalekite. But what made him disobedient to God? What part, and give me the chapter and the verse, what part in the Bible did he not do? And why did God reject him? So those are the questions. You can inbox me or whatever. But that's the question. Get it right. I mean, you know, in your words, then I will bless you. Have a blessed day.